All right, guys, so welcome back. So previously we were looking at question 9 to do this question about shower gel. Hopefully, guys, you appreciate this is probably the more easier examples. And hopefully, guys, you at this point you managed to get that answer without really much input from myself. But hopefully, guys, just going over the solution has really given you the confidence to answer similar questions. But now, guys, we move on to question 10. This says 10 years ago, in many European cities, offices typically had spaces for 6 cycles, half of which were never used, and spaces for 50 cars, which were always full. Today, there are fewer car spaces and many more spaces for bicycle, which are always full. This change in cycling may seem strange to some, as cycling is more effort. Possible causes are rising fuel prices, the introduction of higher parking charges for drivers in major cities, increasing awareness of environment issues, expensive public transport, and traffic jams. It says, which of the following can be drawn as a conclusion from the above passage? So, guys, pause the video, give yourself a minute, and be sure to be back after that minute. We'll be going through the solution. Okay, guys, so let's go through this. So it says 10 years ago, in many European offices, typically had spaces for 6 sites, half of which were never used, and spaces for 50 cars, which were always full. So hopefully, guys, you can appreciate that that one is more of a fact, isn't it? Just stating his observations. So all going to be facts. We can just cross that all out. And then it says today there are fewer car spaces and many more spaces for bicycles, which are always full. Again, just observation. So this is all just fact. This change cycling may seem strange to some, as cycling is more effort, isn't it? So so you might think that's an opinion. That's not really an opinion. He's just saying people might have this opinion, but it's people. He's just saying the opinion people might have. Remember, if you're stating someone else's opinion, that's not really an opinion of this person. So you can cross this out as well. You can treat that as a fact if you like. Yeah, and then it says possible causes are rising fuel prices, the introduction of higher parking charges for driving in major cities, increasing awareness of environmental issue, expensive public transport, and traffic jams. Again, all of this over here, guys, he's just giving. He's not saying this is the reason. If he says quite evidently this is the reason, that's more of a strong opinion, isn't it? So all of this, guys, is not really an opinion. He's just saying what could have caused it. So this is more likely to be fact. Even if it was an opinion, it would be super weak. So you can just cross all of this out. So hopefully, guys, you know then that this is a type of question where there's not really a opinionated sentence in the passage. You have to kind of just take that all in and think yourself, okay, what was the purpose of him writing that, or him or her writing that? So my idea of him or her writing that, he's probably trying to say, just trying to bring forward the fact that people essentially people cycle more than use the car one. He just gave a few reasons for that, right? So that's basically the main gist over there. So let's look at the answer. It says using a bicycle is now the most popular way of traveling to work. So the reason why this one can't be it, guys, is because it's comparing just bicycle and car. He says nothing about, like, buses and other modes of transport. So it can't be this one. So travelers are now much more environmentally aware than they were 10 years ago. Yeah, it's saying that one of the reasons could be environmental issues, but he says nothing. So to get with B, guys, you're kind of formulating something in your head. Remember, you can't do that. Because B is, you don't know if travelers are more environmentally aware. He's just saying that might be the reason. He's not saying that's definitely the reason. So it can't be this one. Next one, people will not cycle to it unless employers provide more cycle spaces. Nowhere in that passage, guys, does it say that. So it can't be this one. There's travelers are now less happy to pay the cost of car use than they were 10 years ago. Yeah, so he gives that as one of the reasons, but A, that's talking about a very particular part of the passage, and B, he's saying that might be a reason. He's not saying that's the definite reason. So it can't be this one. So hopefully, guys, by process of elimination, E is the answer. But let's just go look at E. More people cycle to work now than 10 years ago. That's probably the most appropriate answer, isn't it, guys, compared to all the others. So hopefully, guys, you can appreciate then that E is the correct answer. And hopefully that has made sense, guys, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, guys, so welcome back. So previously we looked at question 10 to do with comparing bicycles and cars and, commuting to work. Hopefully, guys, that question was clear and it made a lot of sense. But now, guys, we move on to question 21. So let's read this again. It says, roughly 60% of today's world population is bilingual or multilingual, and it's argued that this is a new phenomenon. Today, Spanish and Arabic are widely spoken, whilst English is the world's most commonly spoken and written language. However, 500 years ago, there was Latin, which was the main language of education, religion, commerce, and government in the Western world, despite this not being most people's first language. In the 17th century, the French and Italian gained in import as languages of international trade. Which of the following can be drawn as a conclusion of the above passage? So, guys, pause the video, give yourself a minute, be sure to be back after that minute. We'll be going through the solution. Okay, guys, so let's read this. It says roughly 60%. So again, it's putting figures on that, guys. So without us even reading the rest of the sentence, we know that this is all going to be fact. So you can just cross this out. And then it says today, Spanish, whilst English is the most commonly spoken and written language. Again, that's just fact. He's just stating his observations there, isn't it? So this is all just fact. And this, however, 500 years ago, it was Latin which was the main language of education, religion, commerce, and government in the Western world, despite this not being the most people's first language. Again, he's just stating not the obvious, but he's just stating fact, isn't it? What happened 500 years ago. So this is all just fact. And it says in the 70th century, the French and Italian gained in importance as languages of international trade. Okay, so again, guys, we're challenged again by this question. Um, we're challenged again by this question, question 21, where there's not really a opinion, it's more or less all of that is fact. You actually just kind of take it all in, right, and then look through the answers, look at the most appropriate answer for that. Mainly, the way you do this question, guys, is just by process of elimination. And then let's read this. It says English will one day be replaced as the main language of communication. Nowhere in that passage does it say that. So hopefully you can appreciate this is X. Speaking another language has always been an important practical consideration. Um, so it does talk about speaking of it has always been an important practical consideration. Um, so it does talk about 60% is bilingual and more, and it's argued that this is a new phenomenon. Okay, so yeah, so I think this is worth considering, guys, because if you read the tone of the language, it's saying people think that this is a new phenomenon. He's giving that sort of tone, but then the idea he's kind of giving is that it's not really a new phenomenon, and he gives examples of that. For example, he's saying Spanish and Arabic is widely spoken, and then he says French and Italian. So is basically trying to say that the gist I'm getting from it is that it's quite important that you speak more than one language because it's giving different time periods. And saying, for example, there's always been two languages which have been dominant. For example, Spanish and English, Spanish and Arabic with English now, and then French and Italian before, and then Latin in there. So it gives that sort of idea. So I'm going to consider that one. And then it says the next one: the majority of bilingual or multilingual people speak English. No, it doesn't say that, isn't it? It just says English is the most commonly spoken and written language, right? Um, so but you don't know if the majority of bilingual people can speak English. So this one's X. It says the number of bilingual or multilingual in the world will continue to grow. So nowhere in this passage, guys, does it continue to make that projection onto the future. So you can't say that. English is the most common world language because of the spread of the internet. Yeah, hopefully you're going to agree, guys, that there's nothing mentioned about the internet over here. So that one's also wrong. So guys, even if you didn't consider B to be one of the options, hopefully you could have excluded the other. This is what I mean, guys. These kind of questions, the options are going to be like four of them in the case of this question, four of them are clearly going to be wrong, and therefore you'll be left with one that sounds essentially the least wrong, which is going to be the most appropriate answer. And as you can see, guys, the past couple of questions are all from the same paper. So generally, I think the early ones are the ones where there's a really clear opinionated sentence, and then as you go on, they wane off and you get sort of these if you like, more trickier ones. But hopefully, guys, that has made sense, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, guys, so welcome back. So previously we were looking at this question, question 21. And this question was talking about speaking multiple languages and how it can have some advantages. But hopefully, guys, that has made sense. But now we move forward onto question 22. So question 22 reads, child actors tend to become addicted to drink and drugs in later life, usually when they become adults, but are not as successful as they were previously. The actors frequently blame their parents who often manage their children's career and so have a reason to work them hard when they are young and enjoy the wealth their children generate for them. The child actors who avoid this are often the ones who are encouraged to keep up their schooling and explore other career options. It says, which one of the following can be drawn as a conclusion from the above passage? So guys, pause the video, give yourself a minute, and be sure to be back after that minute where we'll be going through the solution. And I say a minute, guys, but you can give yourself a bit more than a minute. That's fine, because remember, 1 minute 50 is the golden time you should be aiming with these kind of questions. But yes, guys, make sure you're back after that time. Okay, guys, let's go through this. So question 22 says, child actors tend to become addicted to drugs and drink and drugs in later life, usually when they become adults, but are not as successful as they were previously. Right? So here is just stating his observations, and even if that was an opinion, that would be super weak. So we can just line this all out. So cross that all out. Then it says the actors frequently blame their parents who often manage their children's wealth and so have reason to work them hard when they are young and enjoy their wealth their children generate for them. Right? Again, this is, even if that was an opinion, super weak, just stating observations, isn't it? of what's commonly happening. So this is all just lined off more or less as fact. Yeah, it says the child actors who avoid this are often the ones who are encouraged to keep up their schooling and explore other career options, right? So yeah, again here, I'm probably going to say this is probably the most sort of opinionated compared to other, but even then, it's not really a strong opinion, because he's saying so children, the child actors who avoid this are the ones, but he that's what he thinks. He has no evidence to back it, but he's not forcing any. It's more of a passing. This is what he thinks, but I think that's the most opinionated anyway. From that passage, and it says, which of the following can be drawn as conclusion from the above passage? So the first one, child actors should have other interests that allow for other career options. Yeah, I think that's quite good, isn't it? Because it says in that last sentence that essentially to avoid these problems, you should explore other things which should keep you away in later life. So this is, I think, good. But you can consider the other ones. Drug abuse is common in the entertainment industry. Yeah, no way does it give. Um, it says they tend to become addicted. It doesn't give anything about the entertainment industry, and it doesn't give any stats on that. So it can't be this. And there's young actors who continue to work, live happy, healthy lives. It does give that impression, isn't it, guys? It does give that impression that essentially once your parents are not there anymore, right? And then you don't have the drive to keep working, right? Uh, you essentially lose out on your work, and therefore you turn to drugs and that. But really, guys, really, so remember, this is again the idea. He's trying to say that what is trying to say in the passage is that you don't have work, right? Then you turn to drugs and stuff, i.e., you're not happy, right? But then this is saying young people who continue to work will be happy. Remember, these two things are not equivalent. We went through that in the previous video, guys, videos back. But hopefully, guys, you can appreciate that this is not the one. I mean, parents should be not be allowed to manage the careers of their children. It doesn't even it kind of does mention parents. I mean, it gives that impression, but it doesn't say anything about they shouldn't manage it, right? If anything, yeah, it doesn't basically, guys. Hopefully, you can appreciate then that statement D, doesn't really say that anywhere. Although it does say that parents driving you would continue will allow you to continue working and therefore stay away from this stuff. But it doesn't say anything about parents shouldn't be allowed to manage the careers. So this can't be it. And then it says there are a few jobs available for adult actors. Nowhere in that passage, guys, does it say it. So hopefully, you can appreciate this one's X. So hopefully, guys, you can then take A as being the correct answer. And even if you didn't think A was the correct answer, hopefully the other ones were clearly wrong, and that then led you to A. And that's really the purpose, isn't it, guys, of section one. And these already compared questions, a lot of them you can just get by excluding out obvious ones and therefore leading you to the most appropriate answer. So hopefully, guys, that has made sense. And yes, we really look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, guys. So previously we looked at this question 22, really talking about child actors and how involvement of their parents can affect their later life. But the main idea, guys, was this idea that we just revisited again. A prime does not equal leading to B prime is not the same as A leading to B. Remember this idea that if you don't, if the author is saying if you do A, you're going to get B. That's not the same as saying if you don't do A, you're not going to get B, right? So just be careful there. So now, guys, we move on to the next question 26. Let's read this together. It says the chief executive of the Royal Opera House has recently offered 100 seats on any Monday night for £10. Normally, these seats can cost up to 175. Therefore, it represents a considerable saving. However, the hopes of the that this will attract a broad audience are likely to be disappointed. It is not the financial cost that put people off opera. It's simply that they do not like it. Many young people spend considerable sums of money going to Premier League matches or clubbing. This suggests, therefore, that the problem of attracting a more diverse audience to opera is more of a question of culture than economics. Which of the following is an expression of the main conclusion of the above argument? So, guys, pause the video, just give yourself over a minute, and be sure to be back after that. We'll be going through the solution. So, guys, let's go through this. So it says the chief executive of the Royal Opera House has recently offered 100 seats on any Monday night for £10. So here he's just stating his observation. This is just all fact, isn't it, clearly? So you can just cross this all out. So cross. And there's normally these seats can cost up to 100, therefore it represents a considerable saving. Again, he's just saying that he's just giving, generally when they give numbers, just really talking about fact. So hopefully, guys, you can appreciate this is all just fact. Cross that out. It is, however, the hopes of the chief executive that this will attract a broad audience are likely to be disappointed. So this is clearly his opinion, isn't it? I might think this might work, but he might not, right? And also, guys, this kind of break is kind of dramatic. So he's saying that, so he's saying, okay, they're doing this, but then he says, however, right? So this is a kind of it's not really a indication of a strong conclusion, a super strong conclusion, but it is really an indication of a conclusion. Although it's not super strong, it's still a conclusion because he's giving this is a general theme, isn't it? They give reason, they fluff it, then they give an opinion, right? So just remember, guys, when they normally say however midway through a sentence, that's kind of an indication that might be a good opinion worth considering. So it says it's not the financial cost that put people off opera, it's simply that they do not like it. So again, this is kind of tied in with the previous sentence, isn't it? But hopefully, guys, you can appreciate that's basically the main idea he's essentially trying to give, that this new initiative is basically not going to do as it wants. And here, just giving reasons for that. So this is probably an opinion that he's probably just saying people don't like it. It's probably his opinion. But clearly, hopefully, you can understand, guys, it's not as strong as the previous one. So you can just cross this out. Then it says many young people spend considerable sums of money going to Premier League matches or clubbing. Again, he's just stating his observations here, isn't it? This is just fact. So you can cross this all out, right? So boom. And then this is therefore that the problem of attracting a more diverse audience to opera is more of a question of culture than economics. So again, this is kind of, I'll just bracket this off. This is kind of linked in with the previous sentence over here, isn't it? We're just saying that this is reducing the price isn't going to do anything because people don't like opera in the first place, right? So this is, look at the answers then, guys. It says the cheap seats policy is unlikely to attract a more diverse audience. Yeah, I think we can consider this one's quite good so far, right? And then the next one, the intention of the cheap seat is that it will attract a broader audience. Um, yeah, that is probably what the intention is, isn't it? But he's not writing this to tell you that. He's just writing this to say that he's writing this to say that it won't do this, but he's just giving more of the reason why it won't do. He's saying it's not a reason of money; it's more of a reason of culture and the fact that youngsters and other, especially he talks about youngsters, don't like this kind of stuff. So it's unlikely to be that. Then it says a considerable amount of money can be saved as a result of this offer. He mentioned that as the first part, but again, he didn't write this paragraph just to tell you that a reduction in the amount of cost per ticket is going to save you money. He didn't write it for that. And again, it's really just talking about a specific part of that passage, right? So it can't be this. And the next one says many young people do not like the idea of going to opera. Yeah, so it gives the idea of young people over here, but that's just an example he's giving, right? The main idea is that it won't attract a diverse audience because most people don't like this stuff, rather than the fact, and he just gives young people as an example, right? And it really, again, it just really refers to a specific part of that passage. So it can't be this one. And then it says attracting a broader audience for opera is a problem of taste. Attracting a broader audience for opera is a problem of taste rather than expense. So I guess we can consider that one as well. So now it's basically between A and E, isn't it? Right. So I'm probably gonna go. I'm gonna probably go with A because it brings this idea forward of the cheap seats, right? Because he is good in that it is talking about that people don't go to opera because of the taste rather than the expense, but he didn't write it for that. He wrote it to say that this cheap seats policy is not going to do anything because people don't like opera rather than it being too expensive. So this is why I like E. It covers more of the passage than E does, right? So hopefully, guys, yeah. So hopefully, guys, that has made sense. If there's anything confusing, just pop a comment down below. We can go through that. But other than that, guys, hopefully that has made sense. And yes, we look forward to seeing you in the next clip.